Page 21. You are listening at novelfull.audio. And whoever's behind this has got another thing coming. He stared at the kid sprawled on the ground, his gaze hardening. If you don't spill, I'll just find out myself. Under the kid's horrified stare, he shifted again, his eyes turning pitch black, fangs bared. He moved in. What are you gonna do? That he might have been all tough before, but now that it was his neck on the line, the fear hit him hard. Jiang Chen didn't answer. He just opened his mouth and sank his teeth into the kid's neck. Chapter 17, Genius Assassin Kid ***. That it was his first time biting someone, but he didn't see another option. If he was going to figure out who wanted him dead, this was the only way. His corpse poison wasn't just lethal, it could turn other creatures into his puppets, like that little black sparrow from before. Though it was a pretty low-level puppet, he might not have human biting experience, but he had all the memories from the previous zombie. Once the other guy turned, he should be able to control him, assuming the guy wasn't way stronger. His sharp teeth sliced through the kid's skin and artery. A jolt shot through Jiang Chen, like something had woken up inside him. He'd snuck tastes of forbidden fruit before, thought the blood of birds was pretty good. But this, the blood gushing from the kid's neck, hit him like a shot of adrenaline. The scent of fresh blood felt like ambrosia, the ultimate temptation. He couldn't help himself. He gulped down mouthful after mouthful, and it was like mainlining the best drug ever. Every cell in his body was screaming with pleasure. Suddenly, Jiang Chen froze, ripped out of his blood-fueled high. A flood of memories slammed into his mind, all about this kid. From birth to this moment, the kid's whole life was being downloaded into Jiang Chen's brain. Jiang Chen snapped back to reality. He'd been sucking for way too long. The kid's eyes were wide with terror, his face chalk white, and his life was fading fast. Jiang Chen yanked his mouth away. He almost killed the kid. Just straight up murdered him. Then he'd just have a mindless zombie. That wasn't the plan. Good thing the kid wasn't quite dead. Now all Jiang Chen needed was for the corpse poison to finish the job, turning him into a smart zombie, like Jiang Chen himself. And if the kid wasn't too strong, Jiang Chen would have total control. A control that would sink deeper and deeper, until it was impossible to break. He had all the kid's memories now. He knew the kid hadn't been lying. He really didn't know who hired him. Jiang Chen just had to hope he could control the kid after the transformation, so he could use him to find out who was pulling the strings. With that decided, Jiang Chen dropped his zombie form and stood up. He felt something, turned towards Holy Soul Village, and spotted a little head peeking out from behind a tree 100 yards away. As soon as the kid saw Jiang Chen looking, he ducked back behind the tree, too far to get a good look. Jiang Chen took a few steps, ready to investigate, when a little figure bolted from behind the tree and sprinted toward Holy Soul Village. Jiang Chen blinked. He knew that little figure. It was Tang San. He sighed. Big misunderstanding. Tang San just saw him sucking blood. He'd probably run screaming in the other direction from now on. Shaking his head, he turned back to the kid and waited. His own stab wound had already healed. Zombies were tough to kill unless you knew the trick. He started sorting through the kid's memories. Turns out, the kid had a rough life. The kid's name was Jing Wuming. He used to be the young master of some tiny sect, but they were wiped out when he was 3. A guy named Jing Wuchang rescued him and raised him to be an assassin. Jing Wuming had been training to kill since he was 6. He was only 10 now, and his spirit power was already level 19. He was pretty damn good. Even crazier, Jing Wuming had twin spirits. One was a shadow, and the other was a sword. He'd been using the shadow spirit's first skill to hide in the trees. So, he was hiding in the shadows. That explains it. Jiang Chen finally understood. That's one weird spirit. He can just disappear into any shadow. Jing Wuming's current power level was 19, and his natural power was 8. He was a straight-up genius. Jiang Chen's heart skipped a beat. Level 8 power, plus twin spirits. He was almost as good as Tang San. If he could control this kid, he'd have a serious weapon on his side. Plus, Jing Wuming's adoptive father was the head of the Assassins Guild in Notting City. That meant Jiang Chen might be able to take over the whole organization down the road. Jing Wuming thought the Assassins Guild was huge, but he didn't really have a sense of scale. After about 10 minutes, Jiang Chen felt a connection snap into place. A strange energy flowed from Jing Wuming, linking them together. Jiang Chen grinned. Things were going his way. The wound on Jing Wuming's stomach, the bite marks on his neck, they started to shrink, disappearing in the blink of an eye, leaving smooth skin. Jing Wuming's eyes flickered, confusion fading into clarity. He stood up and stared at Jiang Chen, his face a mix of emotions. Finally, he dropped to one knee. Master. Jing Wuming was completely under Jiang Chen's control now. Soul deep obedience. If Jiang Chen told him to die, he wouldn't hesitate. Page 22. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before I messed up, Master, please punish me. Jing Wuming was super respectful. Get up. You're one of us now. I'm not gonna blame you, Jiang Chen said with a smile, helping him up. Jing Wuming stood, still looking respectful, waiting for instructions. He had his own thoughts, sure, but there was this natural, soul-deep obedience to Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen checked it out again, making sure everything was in order. Here's your first assignment, find out who's trying to off me, ASAP. Understood. Jing Wuming bowed his head. Also, I saw in your memories that you're planning to add a soul ring to your second martial soul, right? Jing Wuming, not surprised that Jiang Chen knew, nodded. Yeah. Hold off on that, Jiang Chen said. Jing Wuming looked puzzled. Could you explain, Master? Jiang Chen said, your shadow martial soul is good enough for now. When you get to Contra, or even title Douluo, add a soul ring to your sword. You'll be able to handle a soul ring that's tens of thousands of years old then, maybe even older. Jing Wuming's eyes lit up. He dropped to his knees, bowing respectfully. Thank you for the advice, Master. But Master, my attack power is mostly in the sword spirit. Without another soul ring, my strength will drop a lot. Jiang Chen smiled, as if he'd been expecting the question. Feel your body. Go on, really feel it. Chapter 18, Confronting Tang San. Jing Wuming focused, and after a moment, he looked amazed. Master, my soul power just jumped to level 30. I feel like everything about me is better, stronger, like I've doubled my strength. He was still young. Even a killer like Jing Wuming couldn't hide his excitement. Jiang Chen nodded. That's my gift to you. And remember my poison? You've got it now, too. It'll get stronger as you level up, so even without a soul ring on your sword spirit, you can still kick some serious butt. Jing Wuming finally understood. He was even more grateful now. But this awesome ability comes with some nasty side effects. Jiang Chen's words made Jing Wuming jump. Pretty soon, you're gonna get this intense craving for blood. You'll have to drink it to feel okay. You're not really human anymore. More like a blood-sucking monster. You'll need blood to live. Jiang Chen didn't know why he could act normal, but Jing Wuming was definitely a straight-up zombie. He'd need blood to survive. Jiang Chen's words freaked Jing Wuming out. A blood-sucking monster. That sounded evil and scary, but even though he was afraid, his loyalty to Jiang Chen didn't waver. Jiang Chen went on, you can drink human or animal blood, but don't bite anyone unless I say so. Got it. Jiang Chen knew how dangerous zombies were. If a zombie virus ever got loose in this world, it would be a total disaster. Zombies would become monsters everyone in Douluo Continent would want to destroy, and Jiang Chen would be screwed. He didn't want that to happen until he was strong enough to handle it. Even though he hadn't felt that craving yet, Jing Wuming had already burned Jiang Chen's order into his soul. He wouldn't bite anyone without permission, no matter what. Looking at Jing Wuming, Jiang Chen had an idea. Maybe he could build an army of undead zombies in this world. Talk about scary, but he was just thinking out loud. He wouldn't do something so crazy unless he was desperate, he chuckled to himself. He'd probably be the nicest zombie ever. Oh, and when you get back, tell them I'm dead. Make it convincing. Then secretly find out who wants me gone. Jiang Chen's eyes flashed. Anyone who wanted him dead would pay. Jing Wuming nodded. Master, should I take care of them? Jiang Chen shook his head. No, just find out who they are. Now go. Jing Wuming nodded and vanished in a flash. Jiang Chen forgot about fishing. He turned and headed back to Holy Soul Village, trying to figure out how to explain all this to Tang San. He walked all the way back, but he still didn't have a good answer. He glanced at Tang San's house. He saw Tang San's head duck past the door, and then the door slammed shut. Tang San, you've got all these awesome skills, and you're scared of me, a zombie? Seriously? Jiang Chen was speechless. He didn't know that Tang San was panicking. He knew how to deal with regular corpses, but he had no idea how to handle zombies, and Tang San was afraid Jiang Chen would lose it and bite his dad. Tang Hao. Jiang Chen shook his head and headed home, too bummed out to even work out. After a few steps, Tang San called out, telling him to stop. Jiang Chen turned and saw Tang San coming out. He could see the fear in Tang San's eyes. Jiang Chen, can we talk? Alone. Jiang Chen nodded. Where to? Page 23. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tang San pointed towards the distant mountain. Let's go to the top. Jiang Chen nodded, relieved. Tang San was initiating conversation. At the summit, they faced each other. The mountain wind whipped at their clothes, but both remained calm, their breathing steady and unwavering, a picture of composure. Tang San's face was serious, his hidden needles poised and ready. While the Tang sect didn't concern itself with slaying demons and defending the righteous, the Shantian treasure record had a general principle: if you were certain someone was an enemy and you had the means to eliminate them, don't hesitate. Tang San's two priorities were his father and old Jack, and he wouldn't let Jiang Chen endanger them. That's why, despite his fear, he'd agreed to meet Jiang Chen alone. Why did you bite that kid? Tang San asked, his voice cold. Jiang Chen, seeing Tang San's readiness to fight, felt a surge of helplessness. If I told you he was trying to kill me, would you believe it? Tang San slowly shook his head, giving Jiang Chen a look that said, do you think I'm stupid? A kid trying to kill a 6-year-old for no reason? What a ridiculous joke. Jiang Chen shrugged. See? I'm telling you the truth, and you don't believe me. Tang San's expression hardened. If you don't explain yourself today, you're not leaving here. I already told you, I don't bite people for no reason. Take it or leave it, Jiang Chen said, not wanting to reveal the assassination attempt. Without proof, Tang San wouldn't believe him anyway. Seeing Tang San's darkening face, Jiang Chen started walking down the mountain. The best way to prove himself was through time, showing he wouldn't harm old Jack. Don't even think about it. Tang San shouted, darting behind Jiang Chen and grabbing his shoulder. Jiang Chen's soul force surged. Without turning, he shrugged, throwing Tang San's hand off. But after a few steps, Tang San attacked again, this time using the skill of Xuanyu hand, striking Jiang Chen's shoulder with his palm. Unless Jiang Chen provided a clear explanation, he was determined to keep him there. Tang San knew Jiang Chen was incredibly strong, so he channeled his soul force into the palm strike, catching Jiang Chen off guard and nearly forcing him to his knees. Everyone has their limits. Even Jiang Chen, with his good nature, couldn't tolerate Tang San's stubbornness. He whirled around, glaring at Tang San. You want to fight? No explanation, no leaving. Tang San replied icily. Since you've already decided I bit the kid on purpose, what's the point of explaining? Tang San paused, realizing he'd already made up his mind. As for someone wanting to kill Jiang Chen, that was too absurd, and neither of them would believe such a ridiculous thing. Seeing Tang San's silence, Jiang Chen continued, so, you want to kill me? Chapter 19, Jiang Chen gets his butt kicked. Tang San's expression tightened. He hadn't expected Jiang Chen to be so direct, even though he was considering it. Then let's see what you've got. Before Tang San could respond, Jiang Chen charged. he'd wanted to test Tang San's abilities for a while, and with his temper flaring, a fight seemed in order. Facing the onrushing Jiang Chen, Tang San focused all his energy on Xuanyu Hand to meet him. The Xuanyu Hand could resist toxins, so he wasn't worried about Jiang Chen's corpse poison. In the first clash, Jiang Chen had the clear advantage, sending Tang San flying backwards. Jiang Chen didn't budge. Tang San was much weaker. Tang San flipped twice in the air, landing several steps back to regain his balance. What raw power, he thought, stunned. He'd known Jiang Chen was strong from watching him, but experiencing it firsthand was shocking. Tang San shook his numb hand, looking at Jiang Chen gravely. I admit you're strong, but strength isn't everything. Without skill, it's just brute force. Jiang Chen's face darkened. He remembered Tang San's skills, Ziji Demon Eye, Xuanyu Hand, Ghost Shadow Mistrack, and his hidden weapons. Aside from brute strength, he was clearly outmatched in every other area. He'd never really fought before. As he thought, Tang San moved, using Ghost Shadow to create a multitude of afterimages, leaving Jiang Chen bewildered. From Tang San's perspective, Jiang Chen was wide open. He lashed out with a kick. Jiang Chen reacted quickly, blocking the kick, but when he tried to retaliate, Tang San was gone. After several attacks, Jiang Chen had taken a beating, but he could tell Tang San wasn't using his full strength. He wasn't slow, but he lacked Tang San's strange agility. He just charged straight ahead, making it impossible to catch up. He roared in frustration, unable to even touch Tang San's clothes. Page 24. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 10 minutes later, Jiang Chen was covered in bruises. He was done. Tang San's weird moves were just too much. He couldn't even put up a fight. He was seriously annoyed. He couldn't use his strength, and he couldn't catch Tang San. It was incredibly frustrating. He even started cursing his system. Everyone else's golden ticket to success was all kinds of awesome, but his? He had to get struck by lightning just to get a little something. Tang San finally stopped. He didn't actually want to kill Jiang Chen. That thought had just flashed through his mind. He thought about Jiang Chen's behavior over the years. It seemed like he'd never actually attacked anyone unprovoked. Is that kid really trying to kill you? Jiang Chen nodded, defeated. Absolutely. Lightning strike me if I'm lying. I've got the kid under control since I bit him. If you don't believe me, I'll have him come over in a few days. Suddenly, Tang San's expression changed. He didn't know if Jiang Chen's zombie spirit was the same as his previous one. He had to ask, will that kid turn into a zombie after you bite him? Yeah, but he's under my control. He won't bite anyone unless I tell him to. Let's drop this for now. If I find out you hurt Grandpa Jack, you're gonna regret it. With that, Tang San turned and headed down the mountain. Jiang Chen smacked himself on the forehead. Cheapskate system, why can't you give me a decent skill? Something to move faster. Maybe even a good punch. I'm gonna get struck by lightning anyway. He thought with his natural full soul power and the zombie spirit, he could at least compete with Tang San. Instead, he'd gotten completely humiliated. He had a sudden, overwhelming urge to absorb that God-given spirit ring. With one more skill, maybe he could turn things around and beat Tang San, but then he thought better of it. He couldn't let his impulsiveness get the better of him. His life was worth more than a momentary victory. He brushed the dust off his clothes, realizing he wasn't even injured. Tang San had held back, not using his full strength. Even if he had, it might not have hurt Jiang Chen. After all, Jing Wuming's sword had gone right through Jiang Chen's heart before, and he was still kicking. He kicked a big rock to pieces, gritting his teeth. After he absorbed the spirit ring, he was going to get revenge on Tang San, big time. Just then, through his connection with Jing Wuming, he learned that Jing Wuming had returned to Notting City. Jing Wuming was kind of a big shot in Notting City's assassin organization, so it wouldn't take long to find out who had hired them to kill Jiang Chen's employer. Meanwhile, at the Notting City Spirit Hall, Matthew Nuo summoned Su Yuntao to his office. He'd just heard about Jiang Chen's death from the assassin organization and couldn't wait to tell Su Yuntao. When Su Yuntao opened the door, he saw Matthew Nuo inside. To his surprise, Cece was there too. Cece looked radiant, her eyes bright. Su Yuntao's nose twitched. He thought he smelled something familiar, but he couldn't place it. Master Mtlnovel. Cece, what are you doing here? I've been looking for you all morning. Cece smiled. I went to Holy Soul Village to do the job you gave me this morning, Master Mtlnovel. That's why you couldn't find me. What job? Mtlnovel's voice was heavy with regret. Yuntao, I have some bad news about Jiang Chen. Su Yuntao froze, suddenly anxious. Master Mtlnovel, what's wrong with Jiang Chen? He's dead. Mtlnovel slumped, his voice full of regret and sorrow. The news hit Su Yuntao like a bolt of lightning. He staggered, nearly collapsing. Jiang Chen, his ticket to a promotion, was just gone. Su Yuntao, overcome with emotion, grabbed Mtlnovel's shoulders and shook him. Tell me, how did he die? He went fishing and drowned. What a talented kid, such a waste. Su Yuntao's hands fell weakly from Mtlnovel's shoulders. He buried his face in the table and started to sob. He'd been stuck at the bottom of the spirit hall for years, awakening thousands of kids. Now, just when he was about to move up, it was all for nothing. Cece walked over and patted him on the back, trying to comfort him. Don't be sad. I saw Jiang Chen buried myself. I know you'll awaken even more amazing kids in the future. Su Yuntao shoved her hand away and stumbled out of the office. He needed a drink. Chapter 20, Time to absorb spirit rings. Jiang Chen returned home, defeated. He skipped blacksmithing at Tang Hao's place that afternoon. He'd been beaten up by Tang San, and now he was supposed to lick Tang San's boots. No way, not unless Tang San apologized first. Without blacksmithing, he just kept running with the stone roller that afternoon. This time, he carried the roller up and down the mountain, pushing himself even harder. Being beaten by Tang San had only strengthened his desire for power. While he was training, Jing Wuming sent good news through their connection. The target had been located in the spirit hall. Even though Jing Wuming had a special status, it still wasn't easy to figure out who had paid for the crime. He didn't have access to all the files. Page 25. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But targeting the spirit hall is already a big step forward. The spirit hall. I never messed with them. Why would they kill me? You'd think they'd want to recruit me. Why the hit? Jiang Chen couldn't wrap his head around it. It didn't seem like the spirit hall's usual play, especially since he hadn't completely shut the door on them. You'd figure they'd still try to win him over. Then, Jiang Chen had a thought. Su Yuntao, he's gotta know something. He's the one who helped me awaken my spirit, after all. He immediately told Jing Wuming to focus on investigating Su Yuntao. 2 more days crawled by, and Jing Wuming came back with intel on Mtlnovel and Cece. Jiang Chen racked his brain, vaguely remembering them as minor characters from the original story. One was the girl Su Yuntao was chasing, and the other was the veteran spirit hall master in Nodding City. He couldn't for the life of him figure out why they would want him dead. Another day passed, and Jing Wuming finally pieced everything together. He knew exactly why those two had a hit out on Jiang Chen. Early the next morning, Jiang Chen summoned Jing Wuming to Holy Soul Village to get the full story. They met up by the river outside the village, standing face to face. Boss, Su Yuntao's been drowning his sorrows in booze lately. I got him to spill that he gave your info to Mtlnovel, hoping he'd pass it along to the papal palace. Then, Mtlnovel hired us. Well, he hired the organization, to take you out. But why Mtlnovel? And what CC got to do with this? Jiang Chen pressed. I used my spirit skills to sneak into Mtlnovel's office and camped out for a day and a night. That's when I uncovered their secret. Jing Wuming's face suddenly flushed. Jiang Chen frowned, puzzled. Keep going. Turns out, that old goat Mtlnovel and that girl CC they're having an affair. Doing that kind of stuff. Jing Wuming seemed lost in thought, a strange look on his face. It was like a live-action porno, up close and personal. I almost blew my cover. It was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. For a kid like me, it was intense. Jiang Chen's jaw dropped. He knew Mtlnovel had to be pushing 80, and CC couldn't be more than 20, the age difference was insane, enough to be her grandfather. And they were hooking up. And wasn't Su Yuntao head over heels for CC? How could he not notice he was being cuckolded? How long has this been going on? Jiang Chen asked, genuinely curious. Over a month. What about Su Yuntao? Does he know? Jing Wuming shook his head. He's completely clueless. This is wild, Jiang Chen chuckled. So why did they want me dead? Jing Wuming collected himself and explained the deal Mtlnovel and Cici had made. Jiang Chen finally understood. Mtlnovel wanted him out of the picture to snag the position of Palace Master of Nodding City. Poor Su Yuntao, Jiang Chen said, shaking his head. Boss, should I take care of them? Jing Wuming asked. Nah. Jiang Chen's voice turned cold. Killing them would be too easy. Wouldn't it be better to destroy their reputations, leave them with nothing? Jing Wuming nodded thoughtfully. Come with me to the village. I want you to meet someone. Jiang Chen led Jing Wuming back to Holy Soul Village. Jing Wuming didn't ask who they were going to see, he just followed orders. At the village entrance, Jiang Chen told Jing Wuming to wait while he went to fetch Tang San. Tang San's purple demon eyes had seen everything that day, so he obviously recognized Jing Wuming. A few minutes later, Tang San walked up to Jiang Chen, looking apologetic. Jiang Chen, I'm sorry. I misjudged you. Seeing Tang San eat crow, Jiang Chen's annoyance from the past few days started to fade. He wasn't one to hold a grudge. Tang San's actions were born out of concern for his dad and old Jack, anyway. After everything was cleared up, Jiang Chen dismissed Jing Wuming. When you get back, try to hang out with guys your age more, learn how to connect with people. Don't always be so closed off, okay? Jing Wuming was taken aback. Jiang Chen's words echoed what his adoptive father used to tell him, urging him to act more like a normal person. He used to be withdrawn and didn't pay much attention to his adoptive father's lectures, but now Jiang Chen's orders were law. Yes, boss, he replied, taking Jiang Chen's words to heart. From now on, you don't need to call me boss all the time. Just call me young master, Jiang Chen instructed. Yes, sir. Alright, go back and keep training. I'll be in touch when I need you. Page 26. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jing Wuming acknowledged the order and headed back to Nodding City. Jiang Chen's life settled into a familiar rhythm, morning runs and exercises, afternoon ironworking at Tang Hao's shop, and evening practice. Ever since Tang San's apology, his attitude toward Jiang Chen had noticeably improved, even surpassing their relationship before the misunderstanding. Jiang Chen sensed that Tang San had moved past the incident. After all, Tang San's actions that day were driven by a desire to protect Tang Hao and old Jack. Putting himself in Tang San's shoes, Jiang Chen realized he would have likely done the same. As for getting revenge on Mtlnovel, Jiang Chen hadn't yet devised a solid plan, but patience is a virtue. Once he returned to Nodding City, he knew plenty of opportunities would arise to deal with Mtlnovel. Time slipped by peacefully. The villagers of Holy Soul Village grew accustomed to Jiang Chen's daily grind and gradually shed their initial fear of him. One clear night, over 2 months later, under the bright moon, Jiang Chen was unusually still, not practicing. It was late, and the world was asleep. Jiang Chen sat cross-legged on his bed, his heart pounding with anticipation. Tonight, he would absorb his first soul ring and become a true soul master. He was eager to see how far he could push himself after over 2 months of rigorous training, and what kind of soul ring he would acquire. Chapter 21, Jiang Chen's Ultimate Challenge. A divinely bestowed spirit ring grants its absorber a much-needed skill. The longer the absorption lasts, the higher the ring's age, and the more powerful the resulting spirit skill. Jiang Chen's immediate priority was to survive the upcoming trial. He suspected his first soul skill would be defense-oriented. Focusing his spiritual power on the system, he selected the God-bestowed spirit ring. The system then issued a warning. After absorbing the soul ring, the host must face the first tribulation within 3 days. It is recommended to endure as long as possible during the absorption process to increase your chances of surviving the tribulation. Confirm absorption. This time, Jiang Chen didn't hesitate. With a trembling heart, he confirmed. Absorbing his first soul ring felt like a young man on his wedding night. How could he not be excited? Besides, he'd never had a wedding night. The moment he confirmed, a golden bead materialized above his head, shattering into radiant golden light that poured into him through the crown of his head. Instantly, he was bathed in brilliant gold, resembling a Vajra Buddha. A powerful, divine aura radiated outwards, filling the space around him. Tang Hao, asleep in his bed and deep in a drunken stupor, suddenly awoke. Without disturbing Tang San, he quietly slipped outside. Stepping out, he noticed a faint golden light emanating from the village chief's yard, seeping through the cracks of a window in one of the rooms. The aura that had roused him originated from that room, Jiang Chen's room. Focusing his considerable mental power, his expression shifted to disbelief. It was the unmistakable aura of soul ring absorption. And based on the intensity, it was a high-grade ring. Where did this kid get a soul ring? Could it be from a 10-year soul beast? There were no soul beasts in Holy Soul Village, which meant Jiang Chen hadn't hunted one. The only explanation was that a 10-year soul beast had willingly transformed into his first soul ring. Tang Hao's late wife had been a 10-year soul beast, so he knew the secrets of such transformations. But if it was a soul beast transformation, his title Douluo strength would have detected it long ago. Yet, Jiang Chen showed no signs of being a soul beast. It was a mystery. Where did Jiang Chen's soul ring come from? Unable to solve the puzzle, Tang Hao stood there, a mixture of suspicion and concern etched on his face, watching Jiang Chen's house. As the golden light flooded Jiang Chen's body, he initially felt warmth, but that quickly gave way to an explosion of energy. The God-bestowed spirit ring's energy was immense, like raging, endless waves crashing through him. He managed to cope at first, his strong physique providing resistance. But the energy's impact grew more intense. After an hour, impurities began pouring from his pores. The spirit ring's energy was cleansing his body, purging all imperfections. The energy surged higher and higher, threatening to tear him apart. Veins bulged on his forehead, his face contorted in agony. He could even see the energy coursing beneath his skin. "I can't take it anymore," he groaned, activating his zombie physique to ease the internal pressure. He continuously circulated the celestial corpse transformation technique, absorbing the soul ring's energy and rapidly increasing his soul power. 2 more hours passed, and he was nearing his limit again. The sheer volume of energy made him feel like he was about to explode. Roar! Martial soul, appear! His zombie martial soul materialized and merged with him, further enhancing his physical capabilities and dulling the pain. Tang Hao had been standing outside his house for 3 hours now, sensing the ever-increasing energy levels. An hour ago, the fluctuations had already exceeded the absorption capacity of a 10th-level soul master, yet, Jiang Chen was still absorbing, and the energy had reached a fatal level for someone of his rank. A normal 10th-level soul master would have exploded within seconds under such intense energy. A faint yellow energy circle had formed around Jiang Chen, growing darker as time passed. While the martial soul improved Jiang Chen's resilience, the energy surge was simply too much. In less than an hour, he reached his limit for the 3rd time. He felt as if his body was being ripped apart, the pain searing his very soul. Page 27. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Opening his eyes slightly, he noticed the yellow aura surrounding his body had shifted, the deep yellow now tinged with purple. It's reached the 1000-year level. Jiang Chen was thrilled. A 1000-year soul ring surpassed Yu Shaojiang's theories by a wide margin. He never imagined he could achieve this. No, the ring isn't completely purple yet. I can still push it. Jiang Chen shut his eyes again. His entire body throbbed with pain, verging on convulsions. Foul impurities mixed with sweat poured from his pores, filling the room with a greasy, acrid stench, his skin began to bleed, the engorged blood vessels beneath his skin close to bursting. Jiang Chen's mind swam. He wasn't sure how long he endured, but eventually, the surging energy gradually subsided and vanished, lost in his hazy consciousness. Jiang Chen, who'd been tortured for over 4 hours, could no longer fight it. As soon as his nerves relaxed, he drifted into sleep. Tang Hao, still standing, finally let out a long sigh of relief. He'd waited for more than 4 hours, and dawn was only 2 or 3 hours away. He lay back on the bed, but sleep eluded him. His powerful mind sensed that Jiang Chen had successfully absorbed the soul ring. The formidable ring was now a part of him. He wasn't sure how many years the ring had reached, but he knew it had to be extraordinary. If Jiang Chen lived, he would undoubtedly become a legend on the Douluo Continent. Xiao Chen. Old Jack knocked on Jiang Chen's door, concern in his voice. The sun was already high in the sky. Normally, Jiang Chen would have been up hours ago. But the door remained closed. After several unanswered knocks, old Jack pushed the door open and saw Jiang Chen covered in blood. A horrible smell wafted out, even worse than the latrine. Old Jack frowned and rushed to his side, anxious. Xiao Chen, what's wrong? Ignoring the filth and stench, he grabbed Jiang Chen's shoulders and shook him. Huh? Jiang Chen finally stirred, his eyes slowly opening. Chapter 22, First Soul Skill. Seeing old Jack shaking him, Jiang Chen was disoriented at first, but quickly remembered absorbing the soul ring. Whoa, Grandpa, did you just cut one? What's that smell? Jiang Chen covered his nose, his face screwed up in disgust. Old Jack puffed out his chest, indignant. Watch your mouth, young man. Did you take a bath in the sewer last night? Why come back to bed without washing up? You expect me to clean your sheets now? Faced with old Jack's scolding, Jiang Chen grinned sheepishly. Come on, Grandpa, I'll shower and wash the quilt myself, so don't worry. Old Jack shook his head, leaning on his crutch. He turned back before leaving and said, I'm going to the next village to see if I can get you a spot in the work-study program. Remember to fix supper and wait for me. Got it, go on. Jiang Chen urged him. Seeing Jiang Chen's grimy face, old Jack shook his head and walked out. As soon as old Jack was gone, Jiang Chen leaped out of bed, full of energy, but seeing the layers of black gunk coating his skin, his face wrinkled in dismay. The smell was truly indescribable, worse than the latrine. If Jiang Chen hadn't had an empty stomach, he might have thrown up. The layers of stuff stuck to him like sludge. It was foul, uncomfortable, and a little itchy. Although he was eager to test his new soul ability, he had to put that thought aside. Grabbing his quilt, soap, and cleaning supplies, he headed out of the yard, ready to head down to the river to wash up. He lived in the heart of Holy Soul Village, and the stench spread as soon as he stepped outside. When a gust of wind blew, the entire village was engulfed. Damn, did someone's outhouse explode? What's that awful smell? Which lowlife is poisoning our village? I'll get him for this. Dad, time to get up and have some porridge. Hey, what is that stench? Jiang Chen, hugging the quilt tightly, felt his face redden. He was mortified by the comments. Head down, almost completely hidden by the quilt, he hurried out of the village. Hey, that's Jiang Chen. My God, did he really fall into the latrine? Ugh, looks like it. Look at that black sludge all over him. Bleg. I can't take it anymore. He'd been spotted. Jiang Chen's face turned even redder, and he broke into a sprint. He was so incredibly ashamed. He would never live this down. To think that later, when he was famous, this outhouse incident would be a stain on his legacy. His mood plummeted. Tang San stared in astonishment at Jiang Chen, who was running away with a quilt, listening to the villagers' comments. A puzzled look crossed his face. Page 28. You are listening at novelfull.audio. An hour later, Jiang Chen finally finished washing up and scrubbing the quilt. But in the wide river, countless fish were already floating belly up. What a waste. Too bad, but he wasn't too concerned. If it wasn't in the water, he could find something in the mountains. Thinking about his soul skills got him fired up. He hung the quilt on a nearby branch, and stark naked, began testing out his soul skills. The moment he woke, he knew everything about his first soul ability, skillfully summoning the zombie martial soul. A completely purple soul ring appeared beneath him, gently pulsing around his body. A purple soul ring, 1,000-year soul ring. Awesome! Jiang Chen cheered. According to Yu Xiaojiang's theories, the limit for a soul master's first soul ring was around 423 years. Before Jiang Chen absorbed it, he'd hoped to break that limit. He never expected to not only break it, but to blow it out of the water. He'd done it the hard way, no outside help, just his zombie body and the enhancement from his martial soul, and he'd successfully absorbed a 1,000-year soul ring. If he hadn't been facing the threat of an impending disaster, he probably wouldn't have been able to push his soul ring to 1,000 years. After all, heavenly tribulation was deadly. Would he have pushed himself this hard to absorb the soul ring if his life wasn't on the line? He grinned, and unleashed his first soul skill. A layer of pitch-black matter appeared on his body, coating him like liquid before solidifying into mighty, badass armor. The black armor was semi-transparent, with thick, black, prism-shaped spikes on his elbows, knees, and shoulders, making him look fearsome. He tapped it. The black armor felt like bone, but sounded like metal. With a thought, the faceplate could cover everything but his eyes, nose, and mouth, or disappear altogether. After checking himself out in the river's reflection for a few minutes, he gave a satisfied nod, mouth wide open. If he had to describe the armor in a word, awesome. Beyond the looks, the armor's effect blew him away even more. The skill was called Zombie God Armor, and it was primarily for defense. With the God Armor on, his body's defense jumped by 150%, like 15 times stronger. But the Divine Armor also boosted other areas, just not as much as defense. Both his strength and speed doubled. Not as high a boost as defense, but still killer stats. Generally, Millennium Soul Rings absorbed by Soul Masters above level 30 offered, at best, double the effect. The boost from Jiang Chen's skill was so good, his third skill could be considered top tier, plus, his strength, speed, and defense were already insane, so the Divine Armor would have a terrifying effect. He figured that with this skill activated, Soul Masters of the same level would have a hard time finding anyone who could break through his defense. Definitely a defensive skill. Jiang Chen mused, as he'd expected before absorbing the Spirit Ring. After all, the God-given Spirit Ring granted the most needed skill. Still, the skill had flaws. It didn't last long, and it guzzled soul power. The skill only lasted half an hour. As soon as he activated it, Jiang Chen's soul power dropped by a third. After half an hour, the skill would shut off, but he could reactivate it, although at the cost of more soul power. Unless Jiang Chen was super conservative with soul power during a fight, he basically wouldn't be able to use it a second time. But compared to the skill's advantages, Jiang Chen didn't really care about the drawbacks. Most fights ended in half an hour, unless he ran into a freak with tons of tricks, like Tang San. He tapped the armor a few more times, the sound ringing out. This armor sounds like metal. I wonder if it can protect against lightning. Jiang Chen wondered. It should, right? Why else give me a skill like this? He tried to reassure himself, but whether it could or not, he had to survive this tribulation. He had only 3 days to prepare, and had no choice but to deal with it. Chapter 23, Thunder Tribulation Incoming. Ever since he successfully absorbed the Spirit Ring, the feeling of being targeted by the catastrophe intensified. He could draw down the thunder now if he wanted, but he wasn't mentally ready. I wonder if Tang Hao could help. He's a titled Douluo. It shouldn't be hard for him to weather a little Soul Master's tribulation, right? He considered. Just then, the system chimed in. Asking someone to help you cross the tribulation will attract a thunder calamity that matches the helper's strength. Please consider carefully, host. Oh, crap. Jiang Chen paled. He'd planned to ask Tang Hao for help for ages, and it was why he'd spent so much time striking iron at Tang Hao's smithy. But now the system said he couldn't ask for help. Guess I'm on my own. Jiang Chen sighed. He glanced at the system. His stats had changed. Host, Jiang Chen, Douluo level, 13. Zombie level, 112. Page 29. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Soul Ring, 1100 years, Soul Skill, Zombie God Armor, Items, Dark Blessing Potion, Soul Ring Upgrade Coupon, level 11 to 20. The Dark Blessing Potion should really come in handy for healing injuries later on, and then there's the Soul Ring Upgrade Coupon, that can boost the level of my Soul Ring since absorbing the Spirit Ring, I'm way stronger than before. If I use this coupon now, I could probably add 200 years to my first Soul Ring, which would amp up all its skills, but this coupon is only good for levels 11 to 20. Unless I really need it, I don't want to waste it before crossing the tribulation. I couldn't really tell what my soul power level was just by feel, but the system spells it out. All that hard work paid off. My soul power jumped up 3 levels as soon as I absorbed the Spirit Ring. Ugh, gotta think this through. Dejected, Jiang Chen trudged back to Holy Soul Village, quilt in tow. Old Jack got back around noon. He'd talked himself hoarse, but finally managed to snag a work-study spot for me at Notting College. Thanks to some neighboring villages, my heart went out to him. Old Jack's treated me like his own grandson ever since I was a kid. I didn't dare breathe a word about running off. If I screwed up and died, it would crush him. Since I couldn't find anyone to help, I figured I'd find some remote spot in the mountains and try to pull this off solo in a couple of days. I wasn't worried about old Jack's pension with Tang San around. My biggest fear was that he'd miss me like crazy after I was gone. 2 more days crawled by, and it was the 3rd day. I had to find a place to cross the tribulation today. I'd been cooking up a storm of fish and meat for old Jack the last couple of days, which had him grinning from ear to ear, praising me for being such a good kid. Little did he know, if I left today, I might never come back. Bright and early, I had a little chat with Tang San, told him to look after old Jack, which totally threw him. He started asking questions, but I didn't spill the beans. It wouldn't help Tang San any. At lunch, I ate my last meal with old Jack, tidied up my room, folded my quilt, took one last look around, and slipped out of the village, too afraid to look at old Jack again. I'd heard there was a big forest about half a day's walk south of the village. Hardly anyone went there, which made it perfect for crossing the tribulation. I booked it, and got there in a couple of hours and plunged into the woods. No soul beasts in this forest, just regular wildlife. It's too close to the villages. Soul beasts would be a threat except for the big ones like Star Do Great Forest, Frozen Forest, and Sunset Forest. The Heaven Do Empire keeps the soul beasts mostly in hunting spirit forests. If soul beasts get too close to the villages, they report it to the city, and the army takes care of it, either killing them or capturing them and sticking them in a hunting spirit forest. Even without soul beasts, the animals here are still pretty fierce. Only soul masters or hunters dare to venture in. I pushed deeper into the mountains, climbing up and down, with thick forest all around. The trees got bigger and bigger as I went, and there were no signs of people. Every now and then, you could hear a tiger roar. Even hunters mostly stayed away from this kind of place. I stopped, looked at a high mountain in front of me, and grinned. This is it. This mountain was probably the most central in the whole forest. Even if it started thundering on a clear day, nobody would notice. No trails, but with my strength, climbing this mountain wouldn't be a problem. Thorns and vines scratched at my clothes, but couldn't pierce my skin. 10 minutes later, I reached the top. Fewer trees up here, and not much soil, just big gray rocks everywhere. I scanned around, picked out a pretty flat rock, sat down cross-legged. It was around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, sun blazing. The rock under my butt was burning hot, no wind, hardly any birds. The whole place seemed to have wilted under the sun. Sitting there, I was picturing how that zombie survived its tribulation. That zombie triggered the thunder when it was already super strong. No comparison to what I was about to face, but maybe I could pick up a few pointers. After a while, I shook my head and grinned. Guess there was no other choice but to grit my teeth and deal with it. Alright, let's do this. I cheered myself up. I'd come to Douluo Continent, I had my skills and my system. No way I was gonna just give up. And hey, I remembered there was that golden thunder in my body. Maybe it would show up again and help me out. I sat there, cross-legged, slowly running the heavenly corpse transformation kung fu, clearing my head and getting ready. Half an hour later, I snapped my eyes open, dark and intense. Two sharp fangs flashed. I'd become a zombie. Right away, I released my zombie martial spirit, merged with it. My defense, strength, everything got another boost. Page 30. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Here it comes, he muttered, gazing up at the bright blue sky, a flicker of something in his dark eyes, almost as if sensing his thought. The oppressive feeling of impending doom intensified. Boom! That the clear sky shattered with a thunderclap, and a massive black cloud materialized directly above Jiang Chen, radiating waves of terrifying energy. Chapter 24, Pain and Pleasure. Jiang Chen's eyebrows furrowed, a weight seemed to crush his chest, stealing his breath. The thunder made his scalp crawl, and the sense of danger amplified 100-fold. Thunder, the purest form of yang energy, is the bane of creatures like zombies. Even those who've walked the earth for millennia fear its destructive power. Though Jiang Chen felt he was no ordinary zombie, he recognized a formidable threat. Those immortal cultivators in novels always had magical weapons or formations to aid them during tribulations, but he only had his body to rely on. At least he was deep in the mountains, far from prying eyes. The tribulation cloud above him wasn't particularly large, covering just the hilltop, but it looked alien against the clear sky. Thunder rumbled within the dark clouds, and Jiang Chen felt a rising unease. He knew the moment was near. Finally, the tribulation cloud seemed fully charged. A bolt of lightning, thick as a man's arm, shot down, striking Jiang Chen directly atop his head. Not knowing how many strikes were coming, or how long the ordeal would last, he held back his first soul skill. He knew the intensity would only increase. Even before the lightning hit, his scalp tingled, and his hair stood on end. The moment the lightning surged through him, his celestial corpse transformation technique faltered, and his body went rigid. He had been sitting cross-legged, but now his legs kicked out, and he collapsed. His black eyes were wide, his body convulsing violently, wreathed in crackling electricity. Pain. Agony. Jiang Chen felt his flesh and bones ground to dust. His soul power, once vibrant, seemed to recoil, retreating as if from an enemy. The lightning attack lasted only minutes, but felt like an eternity. If he hadn't endured the spirit ring torment before, he would have blacked out. When the lightning finally faded, and the pain subsided, an itching sensation followed. Jiang Chen sat up, shaken. That was brutal. Just one strike, and the pain surpassed anything he'd experienced. Absorbing a spirit ring, the tribulation cloud remained, a second strike brewing. Jiang Chen's heart sank. He had no idea how many more were coming, and feared each one would be worse than the last. His clothes were now rags, his hair singed, and he reeked of ozone. He checked himself over, relieved to find all his parts still attached, but when he looked inward, he froze. No physical damage, but a third of his soul power was gone. Seriously? One strike, and I'm already down a third. Although his soul power had scattered to shield him from the lightning, it had come at a steep cost. Without it, the pain would have been unbearable. Above, the lightning intensified, the second strike imminent. He channeled his energy, trying to replenish his soul power, recovering what he could. Minutes later, the second bolt struck with a deafening roar. Without hesitation, Jiang Chen activated his first soul skill, encasing himself in stiff armor. If one lightning bolt drained a third of his power, he'd be a fool not to use it. Better now than when he was running on empty. To his surprise, the armor held, deflecting the lightning. It actually worked. Still, some of the charge found its way through the gaps, searing his eyes, nose, and mouth. The pain returned, but less intense than before. The armor had taken the brunt of the force, preventing the lightning from flooding him as before. His body had created a barrier, diverting the onslaught. Only a trickle managed to get through. The lightning still raged around his armor, but Jiang Chen felt the pressure ease. The lightning now coursing through his body acted like the spirit ring, refining him, purging impurities. The electricity writhed around him for a few minutes, then began to dissipate. But as it did, a powerful suction emanated from Jiang Chen's body, drawing it in. Jiang Chen gaped, looking inward to see the remnants of the lightning absorbed into his inner core, merging with the golden half. The first lightning strike had happened so fast, he didn't see where it went. But this time, he saw it all. A slow burn began in Jiang Chen's gut. He had been struck twice, and the dormant golden lightning within him hadn't stirred. It only awoke after he endured the brunt of the attack, devouring the leftovers like a feast. It was as if it was enjoying the spoils of his suffering, and that irked him, but what could he do? He could only seethe in silence.